Channeling is an incredible skill that you can learn and that it's not difficult for you to learn. It's surprisingly easy to learn to channel. Um, Usually, what gets in the way is that it's almost maybe too easy, and that your doubting mind comes in and thinks that this I can't really be channeling. It's a natural skill, and I think that if we had, could meet people who lived, a few thousand years ago, you'd find that they were always very connected into the spiritual realms and had a lot of dialogue going on in these other worlds that they were connected to. This is how they would be working in so many different ways, whether it was healing, whether it's just being out in nature, whether it was being hunters, hunter gatherers. But just when you read stories, there's stories. One of them is about animals. That hunters would go out, and the animal path that they would follow, a kind of a light path that would take them to the animals. Something that I um, read about recently. Well, it's probably not recently. Must be at least a year ago. Anyway, it's kind of recently. Anyway, about the light path, that they would follow this path of light. And so if hunters were doing this, they're definitely connecting into these other worlds. And it was a natural and normal part of life. And so it's an innate ability that we all have. And so this course is really just to open that innate ability back up. We all have many beings on the other side who are here for us and who want to support us and to help us in our lives going forward. And they need us to connect to them. Sometimes it's the other way around, but for the most part, unless there's some big intervention that happens, for the most part, we need to reach up to them and ask for their help. Otherwise, they won't intrude on our lives. And I'm always suspicious of any being that comes in and intrudes, because that's not the nature of the very high guides. And what we want to do and what we work with is connecting to only the very high guides. So I teach mediumship, which is connecting to the dead, but I always teach it after I teach channeling. And the reason for that is that, to me, the most important thing is knowing how to distinguish a high guide and to experience the energy of a high guide, so that you know that the being that you are connecting with is a high being that you can trust, that they are a light being. So um, if you connect to a being that's lower, you don't want to be working with that. You don't want that lower information. And so one of the differences actually is that high guides are filled with wisdom. They're much more going to give you wisdom. Lower beings can give you information. And so they are more information oriented, but they're not wisdom oriented. And so there's a big difference between those. And beings that have wisdom know what it is that you need to know, and they're going to be helping guide you on your highest path. And so what they give you is going to be leading you in the right way. It's going to help you go forward. Lower beings who will give information are often there to try and sidetrack you. They're going to be trying to send you some other way, and they're usually going to work as a contract that whatever they give to you, they are going to want something back from you. And I've had to help people get out of those particular situations where they are losing their energy to lower beings who steal it from them, but they're actually getting it because they're in some sort of a contract, where they are these beings are giving them information, and therefore the beings are allowed to take some of that person's energy. Anyway, kind of getting into some lower aspects here. Um, but so high beings are awesome. So that's why we want to connect to them. A high being is a being that is full of love and light, and it's unconditional love. And so all of their connections with you are highly loving, and they leave you feeling really good. They leave you feeling happy because you've touched into other worlds, into higher worlds. So high beings never judge you. They don't judge you. They would never say that you were bad or wrong. They're always saying things from a very spiritual high perspective. There's not um it's not they're beyond the worlds of, of good and evil. They're beyond the worlds of duality. But they'll help you working in these worlds, and they'll give you good information going forward. But it's generally, well, it's always loving information. And as I said, the information is going to be helping you to be on a higher path. And they won't tell you to do things, but they will suggest things. So if you ask them, is this a good path for me to take? They might give you a very strong answer, like say, yes, that is a really good path for you to take. But if you don't listen to them and you don't take their advice, they would never come back and say, well, you should have listened to me or you wouldn't be in trouble. That wouldn't be a high guide. A high guide would never do that, unless they were like really making a joke with you, because sometimes they can also be very jokey characters, high guides. So they can do it to make you laugh, but they would never do it to make you feel bad or sad. So high guides are always loving. And if you say, I'm going to channel every day, and you don't, and you channel again 5 years later, they would just be like, happy to see you. Oh, so glad that you're here. So that's the kind of energy that these beings have. There's nothing to be afraid of. They would never want to take you over. There's no downside on the high beings. Now, if we weren't connecting, and this one thing I can do is I can help you connect with really high beings, not intermediate beings, not anything astral, very high beings. And that's where people can get into trouble, because the other realms, like I said, are not the places that you want to be. So we connect only with high beings in this class, and it is a conscious channeling class. So there are channeling classes, not channeling classes, there are channels out there that do unconscious channeling. Now, unconscious channeling is, it can be like an Edgar Cayce or a Jane Roberts. I mean, they can be really good channels. I have known unconscious channels, and the unconscious channels that I have known had all suffered great trauma, and pretty much childhood terrible trauma, that they had learned to leave their bodies and go to the higher worlds. I don't know about Edgar Cayce, but I know the ones that I knew that was actually the case. And so it allowed them to be, good channels and to channel higher beings. But, it's quite a price. And when you're an unconscious channel, you don't get to know what's going on. You miss the whole story of what you're channeling. So you don't get to listen in. An unconscious channel doesn't listen in. They go elsewhere. And then they come back, and it can be very much like a dream situation. So they'll often go and then come back, and they won't know anything about what has transpired or what has come through. So unless someone actually does that, someone actually records the meeting, they won't. If someone records the meeting, they're not going to know actually what happened. So in the case of someone like Jane Roberts or an Edgar Casey, they had someone there always writing down everything that was coming through. So someone was there to get the information. So if you are a conscious channel, it's like you're in the back seat and you are listening and you're often participating in what's coming through. The great thing for an unconscious channel is that that all the words and everything, that they don't have to develop skill, I guess, apparently, because it comes through. They leave, somebody else shows up. Conscious channels, you're kind of having to work this through together. And the more that you practice being a conscious channel, the better you get at it. It is a skill, is an art and a skill to become a good conscious channel. The beings who are coming through will rely on you. They will rely on your vocabulary. They'll rely on some of your understanding in order to bring the messages through. Although stuff can come through that is like completely bizarre to you. So it's not like everything that they say is stuff that you know by any means. But they do rely on certain aspects of your consciousness, and they're sort of going into your consciousness and driving your car. So they're just kind of driving your car for a little bit to bring information through. What can be very interesting is that, for me at least, and I channel all the time, working with different people, how I can totally expect that when I channel, that there's going to be messages in there that are for me too. So because I'm getting to be there, the people that come and the questions that are asked and what I'm channeling on often surprises me. I'll be going along and it'll be like, oh, I have to pay attention to this too. It's as if the universe has sent me just the right people. And if you're already a healer, you already know this, that you know that you are guiding the session, but you're also learning at the same time. So I am so often in this learning experience while I'm channeling. So for me, I have learned so much from all of this channeling and being with so much guided information coming through that, yeah, it's like being in school a lot. So it's wonderful, as opposed to as if you went somewhere else. Now, maybe going somewhere else is great, but the channels that I know say they don't remember that much when they come back. They feel good, like they've had a big rest or something, but they're really not getting all these messages for their lives the way that I get a ton of messages when I do the conscious channeling. So, so it's conscious channeling that I teach. It is coming from opening to. These are friends of mine. Snea Roman and Dwayne Packer. They are my meditation teachers, and they taught this. They wrote this book and taught this in the 90s. No, in the 80s. They weren't teaching anymore in the 90s. So it was in the 80s that they did that. And my late partner Philip and I would teach this together. We would teach this opening channel, and he used to teach it with them. He was one of their TAs in the original courses, and then I was his, well, we taught it together. So and he was really good at teaching it, and so it was something that we loved to do together. And then when he passed, then I continued. I was told, you're going to teach this. And it was like, oh, I can't teach it because he was really good at teaching it and I'm not. And so the first time I went to teach it, it was like the floodgates opened up. All this energy came through. I felt like I was on a train going 100 miles an hour down a big hill. And apparently I could teach it because all these energies came in order to allow me to do that. And that's sometimes an experience that other people in the class have, is actually have this energy starting to come into them and becoming very intense and getting really hot. And yeah, but other people don't have anything like that at all. People have the experiences that they need. So I don't want to scare you with that, but that was, and I had been, working on channeling for years, but that whole thing opened up at that time. So there's, the steps to do it are the steps that I use, are the steps that they used, and connecting to the same beings that they connected to. Oh, there's a great big spider on my screen. Just a moment. I have to move a spider outside. It's different. Let's see. We're going to go under here. There we go. So, fortunately, the door is right here, and spider's going out. Okay. Okay. Well, it's better than being on my shoulder and someone having to point at it or something like, you got something on your shoulder. I know you guys couldn't see it, but I could. It's right there. Big old spider, big body. Anyway, half you're outside. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I use. I've taught this course now a lot of times on my own. I'm probably about 12 times or something on my own. So and people really get it and really learn how to do it. So that's I think is amazing. And it's amazing for me to have helped so many people to do this and to know that the wisdom is there, and it's just a matter of reaching for it, reaching and connecting, and taking the time to work on it and to develop and to open up the connection. So in the class, so this class is different. My first time teaching online. This way I shouldn't say not my first time teaching online, because I've been teaching online for a while. I've been teaching meditation, light body meditation online for quite a few years, from before Zooming actually. So that's been a few years. And yeah, and I have Zoom rooms. So you go into breakout rooms and work with someone else in a breakout room. So have it all set up and in my mind how to pull this off. But it will be my first time doing it this way. But I have been teaching my other classes, my my medical Qigong Shamanic Chinese medicine classes, online. So I'm kind of used to it. And I have Mario, who you might see is there. Mario will be also assisting in getting this going. So I will have help to make sure that it all goes really smoothly. So the classes are divided up over 4 days. Usually it's an intensive 2-day weekend. And I think actually the 4 days, mornings, I think it's like 9:30 until 1, should be a really pleasant way to do the class. It should, because you have this break, we'll learn a part, and then there'll be a break, and then we'll keep going and then break. So I think it'll bring some, it can be pretty fresh doing it. No one wants to sit in front of a screen for more than 3.5 hours is like plenty. So we'll have a break in there too. And if you're channeling or meditating, it doesn't feel so much like you're looking at a screen. So I'll be doing meditating and channeling during that time, obviously doing channeling, because that's what you're learning to do, to practice. And you'll be meeting people, and the group will be able to stay connected. And that's a great way to continue to have partners to work with, because you want to have that, you want to make those connections, keep those connections with people, and continue to go back and forth with your practice of channeling for each other. So what is it like to channel? What does it feel like? Um, to begin with, we're going to be getting into some higher energy spaces. We'll start off with that. It kind of feels like going up, but I also am very, very strong with going down too. So we root, so we do grounding that balances out the going up. And so it feels like going up, but I actually leave from the heart center. So it's not just up and out of your head. We come back down through the head, but we really go out at the heart. So the heart's a really great place. It's balanced. It's the fourth chakra. It's right between the middle, between the crown and the base of the body. So a balanced place. It's where your soul sits, and it's the right place to connect into these higher energies. We connect in to some light beings to start with. And I'm just getting told by my guides right now, and you will all have guides. It's like never a question. It's not like somebody shows up and like, oh, sorry, there's no guides left over for you. Everyone has guides. It's not a problem. And then we'll do some practice to differentiate between energies, just to see that you can actually tell the difference between certain kinds of energies. So I do a little practice with that. Then we meet the guides. Then after we meet the guides, then you'll get to have more practice with going back and forth with someone else with guidance, and you're in a place where you this is what you're here to do. It's like to learn, to play, to discover, and to not take it seriously, to not worry, because the first thing that happens to you is that you start to have an issue with what's coming out of my mouth isn't the truth. Because we've all been told that the truth is in our minds, that our mind knows what the truth is. The mind is there, and it's the editor. It says, like, you don't tell that to that person because you don't know. It loves to say that you don't know that answer. Don't say it because you don't really know if that's true. Like, oh no, you're gonna say something and you've been told all your life, don't say it if it's not true. And so it's a big editor that we have to get past. That's our biggest thing, is getting past that editor that wants to tell you that it's not true. That's our biggest thing. The other one is just really finding the right energy. So channeling, you can't be too high, because if you get too high, then you can't speak. You can be up there with the guides, but you can't connect down and bring a message through to someone else. You're just like, oh, we're up in a high space. You actually have to come down. This is kind of the skill and the art of channeling. You actually have to kind of come down, and it has to adjust to the right energy to be able to be spoken, and for that these energies to get together. If you're an unconscious channel, maybe you just keep going higher and they come through. I don't know how that actually works for them. However, for conscious channeling, there is kind of a sweet spot of the energy, and after you get used to it, you can get there very easily. For all the channeling that you're going to do, you're going to be guided each time into the right energy to start to channel. So there's always the setup first that I will take you through, and then you'll channel. And the setup will be with everybody, and then people will be divided into their rooms. So we'll do the setup and then the pairing people up to channel. The way that it works is that I can go into all those the rooms. I can go in there and help support people who are in there, and other people who know how to channel, like Mario, can also go in and help to support people who are learning to channel too. So you'll be in a room, and then there can be someone else will come in and just see how you're doing. So you won't just be tossed to the wind with someone else, but you will be, I'll be going in and out of the room, seeing how everybody's doing, and helping to support you to be able to speak more if there's an issue. Some people first time to start doing it, and sometimes it really surprises them because they didn't think they could. So it wasn't easy right away for me to channel, but I definitely got there, and that's just been for me through practice. So I can understand when people are in that place where they don't think they're getting anything and there's nothing to say. Um, Most people are kinesthetic, not not auditory. Everybody kind of wants that auditory thing to happen where, the words just like are auditory and they're just being spoken through you. Like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? That's not always the case. Some people that happens. I watch that happen sometimes and I think, oh gosh, why didn't I have that? That'd be nice. Looks so easy. Some people are visual. And visual people sometimes have to learn how to interpret the visuals that they're getting. And sometimes they just have to describe to the person who they're channeling for what the visuals are. But the visuals become a language. And so it may be that, I'm seeing this mountain. I don't know what that mountain means. When they figure out the language, then it's amazing. So whatever your modality is fine. Now, most people will be kinesthetic, which means that you're going to go, you're going to close your eyes, it's just going to look all dark. You're like, uh-oh, it's just all dark. I'm not getting anything. So, um, so you have to feel into that. You have to really go into that. And what does it feel like? And that's what we're going to learn to do. Like, what is that? What is the energy there? What's the feeling? And sometimes the feeling comes from saying what it isn't. And you'll be asked a question, and so it's like, is this, so it's like if someone says, is it the color blue, and you'd say, well, no, it's not the color blue. Oh, and that helps you to know what color it is, because you know what color it isn't. So there's something about having someone suggest something rather than like there's a giant menu, it could be all these things, and someone says, well, is it pink? And it's like, well, oh no, it's not pink. Then you kind of realize, oh, I am getting something. So even though kinesthetic may not be visual, you can actually get good at getting the right, refines right down to like getting to precise words. So if I'm channeling, I have to say precise words. And if I don't get the right words, my guidance just like stops me and backs me up. It's like I tripped on the wire and I fell on my face sometimes. It's like, whoa, that is the wrong word. I have to say, I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. Back up, be back in that energy and get the word that matches the energy. So for me, channeling is a lot about words matching energy. I get visuals. Once I get that going on and I'm words matching energy, then I get visuals happening. I'll get statements coming through, but it all starts from me because my primary modality is kinesthetic. And then the kinesthetic opens up these other ways of experiencing. And because I started off kinesthetic, it's the most difficult modality because it's the one where you think like, yeah, I'm not getting anything and everybody else is getting something. So what's wrong with me? So because it's that one that makes you think that, that you're not getting it, that allows other people to, that I can help other people, to learn because I had to learn that way myself. So I think if I had been just like a born talent at this, that had been just walked into it easy, I don't know how I could teach anybody how to channel. But because I've had to fight for it, I can pretty much help other people fight for it too, and help to reassure you that it's actually very, very natural part of you and everyone can channel. And in my experience, everyone can channel. I have a few people who refuse to believe that they can channel. And then they turn around and channel. It's like, well, you just channeled. Well, I know, but I still don't think I can. Okay. Even when there's, undeniable proof sometimes, and they're getting stuff and they're like, wow, I don't know where that came from. I don't know how I got that. Like, how did I know that? Especially in the mediumship where people are going to be, being able to verify things quite a lot. So that can be really fun. And there's really just one person who's so determined that he doesn't do it, and he does it actually quite well. And we're like, well, you just really got a lot more than other people. And it's like, yeah, no, but I still don't think I can do it. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I think I'm going to open this up for questions. So you can ask questions. We have a chat that you can put a question to me. Yes.
You mentioned about reading a part of the book before the class.
Yeah, that's great. If you can do that, you can read the first, I think it's 2 or 3 chapters.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there anything else we should prepare?
Yeah, questions. You start to think about questions that I want answered.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have lots.
Because if you have lots, I know, but I'll tell you when we get in there a couple of days, I'll stay always on the last day. I say, anybody got any more issues? Everybody's looking around like, no, which is a great thing. Not only do you learn to channel, but all your issues get resolved.
Okay, I have a question then. Um, I've been channeling for a little while. I've
Hmm.
been aware of it in the past, maybe just less than a year now.
Okay.
Is there anything I need to unlearn to take this class?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah. You're probably just as long as you are happy to, to follow the flow of energy that I direct you through.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
I,
do it from, you probably have a way that you get there, but
okay.
oh, you don't. Okay. Well, just follow it along, see what happens.
And how about the guides? You were saying that you have guides. Do I tell my guide to stay home or what?
No, they'll be the same guides. It could be the same guides, or you may have new guides, or you may be a whole group of guides, so
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being different, but you may just feel the connection in a different way. Um, so I just say be open to it.
Yeah, because I don't know how to channel formally. I just became aware that that's what I was doing. So I guess in the last 3 days reading the book, I was doing the exercises and I realized I'm terrible at meditating and focusing. But
Yeah.
when I channel, I go immediately to that place. So that actually helps me with my meditation. So instead of
Yes.
meditating, I go channel and I feel really great after and I'm able to focus and
Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. And that someone had a question about that. That was from Lynn. Um, how do you feel after channeling? Does it take away your energy? Um, Not for me. I feel great after channeling. I find it um, I find it a wonderful thing to do. So I really love channeling. I love the energies that come through me and are expressed. Sometimes when you're learning to do it, that can seem tiring because you're not used to being in these higher energy fields. So it can feel like, it can feel almost maybe like lifting, like wow. And then you're like also having to have a lot of focus to maybe bring the words through that match the energy. And so in the beginning, it can be tiring, and that's one of the great things about doing it half a day. So, but when you get used to it, it's wonderful. So it does so it's not there to take away your energy, but in your learning to do it, you can burn up some energy just really in the learning process. People get used to doing it, like just don't want to miss it every day because it puts you in a wonderful state of consciousness. And when the guides come through, too, one of the things about bringing it through is that it's not just the words that are coming through. So as you get into this space, channeling space, and you're holding this energy that's going to come through, you are putting words to energy. And so what's coming through to the person isn't just words, it's energy. And you're just trying to put that little words on top of that energy. But the main thing that they can get will actually be an experience of the energy that's coming through. The energy is very, very powerful. And it's actually the main message is the energy. And so if people can understand that. And so you are a conduit of divine energy. So it's healing and it's powerful. Good. So that was a good question from Lynn. Thank you. Um,
I have a
so,
question.
question from Sarah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm just going to wait for Sarah's question here. And then we'll. answer yours, Joanna. Does this help with guidance system? I have a very stubborn mind. Yeah, minds can definitely be very stubborn. And guidance system, absolutely, because they're guides. So the guides are there to help guide you. And so, yeah, so they're definitely, it's wonderful for your whole guidance system and where you're going to go in life. And sometimes you just don't listen to what they tell you in the beginning. You're kind of like, well, I'm just going to do what I do. But then if you just kind of, take note how well did what you do, not listening to their guidance. Sometimes that's the best way, actually, is to not listen. And then when you do channel again, it's like you get more guidance, like, oh, maybe I'll listen to it a little bit more because it didn't work out last time. So one of the ways, like, I would have very mundane ways of listening to my guides. And one of them was like going to restaurants, can't do right now, but anyway, going to restaurants and having them help me with the menu. And something would look really good on that menu. And it's like the guides are like, no, get this other thing. I was like, well, no, I think I'm going to get this thing that sounds so good and come and be totally disappointing. And it'd be like, oh, I think I should have listened. And eventually I got, like, I wonder why, but this seems to be the one that's going to be best, and I'll get it. And if I do pay attention, it's always really good. It's always perfect. But my mind can get in there and say, no, but I really want this other thing because it sounds better.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like it comes with something, some part of it that I've realized I can't eat, or who knows what. Stubborn minds, yeah, that's what we have to work with this, is getting past the stubborn mind. But this is really good for the stubborn mind. You have to kind of let it go, and it's good exercise to help release that, help loosen it up. Hey, Johanna from Newfoundland. Wow.
Yeah, it's late here, but it's perfect for me. I joined it a little late. This is my very first Zoom event.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was on another one, but you mentioned a book. The book, okay, opening to channel. It's online. Is it?
Amazon. They're all over the place, new and used. They've been around a long time, and it's like the classic on the subject.
And is it downloadable?
I'm pretty sure you can probably get it. Oh yeah, I'm
okay,
sure.
Good. Opening to channel.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And prior, you want us to read the first few chapters?
Yeah, and that's Sinea Roman and Dwayne Packer.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Okay. Other questions? Okay. Anything anyone wants me to channel about? So it's a different kind of question now. So not questions maybe about the class so much. Just questions about something that you'd like to have channeled, so I can give you a channel demo. I know, when is COVID going to be over, and when are we going to get to go out and have normal lives again? So everybody's question is. I'll tell you, I had someone I was working with before this really started, and we knew that it was going to have the lockdown thing and all this going on, and she wanted to know about traveling in April, and my guides were like, no. And I thought, this makes no sense. Why shouldn't she do this traveling in April? I don't understand. And then she wanted to do a cruise in the summer, and they were like, no. It's not a good idea. I was like, no, they were actually, it was more like, no, it's not even going to be possible. I was like, why wouldn't this cruise be possible in the summer? It made no sense to me at the time. Like I said, well, it's a very strong, I wouldn't count on it because it's very strong no. So we laughed about it later. But it's like, why wouldn't she be wanting to go on a cruise ship? Oh, man. Okay. The space to reach, or the frequency. Question here. Earlier you said that guides give wisdom, not information. Can you clarify that? Perhaps in an example? Yes, I will do that. So if a guide has wisdom, so I worked with someone who was doing remote viewing. He learned remote viewing. So remote viewing is going to give you a lot of information. It's not high guides, but it gives you information. This person was dying of an unknown disease. I didn't know the part about him doing the remote viewing at that point. He just had a weird disease. And when I went in to see what was going on with him, I was shown these beings off, these light beings off in space doing this kind of sparkly thing. And it's like, do you have these beings that you're working with? And he was like, yes. And then I got close to them. I could see that, ooh, these are not good. You know, no, you don't want to work with these beings. I think there's a lot of what's going on with you. Is that these beings are taking your energy, and are you working with these beings every day? Like, yes. These beings were taking this person's energy, and what he was doing, I said, well, you just have to stop. He said, I'm not stopping. Well, I said, well, I think they're good. This is like, because he was like, you know, it was very serious. The doctors all told me he was going to die. And I said, well, I think they're killing you. All you need to do is stop working with these beings. And he said, no, and I said, what they showed me was they were giving him information. They were feeding him information. Okay, so they're giving you information. He says, yeah, they tell me what my girlfriend's doing. So he was using these beings to spy on his girlfriend.
Oh.
And he wasn't going to give it up. He didn't care if it killed him. He was addicted to the information that these beings were giving him. Information, not wisdom. Wisdom does not come from those kind of beings, because those kind of beings are not high beings. They don't have wisdom, but they had access to a ton of information. So lots of low beings can have information, but high beings have wisdom, and they give you what you need. What comes through is something that's going to take you onto your path. It's going to keep you on your high path, direct you, make you, it's loving, it's light filled. They're not going to tell you that the guy next door is doing something that he shouldn't be doing, or, oh, you should take out a lawsuit against these people, and if you did that, you could win. Those are those very low energies. So that's information, but it's not wisdom. Now, high beings can also give really good information, but they're not going to give you information that's not on your highest path. They're going to give you information that's good for you on your path, or good for the person who you're telling. They're not going to sidetrack you with something that takes you down some sort of rabbit hole that's not useful, that's not loving or healing or good for you. Does that make sense? Okay. The space to reach, or the frequency, is it different for each person? Yes. Getting into a high space and high frequency, you'll be able to do that. And the more you channel, the bigger the spaces become, and the higher the frequencies that you're able to get into, and the more you're going to be able to bring through. And you'll be able to bring through information, but that's wise information. That's why I like to differentiate between wisdom and just information. Because it may be true that somebody's up to no good, but is it wise for you to be involved in that, or to see that in any way? So that's the difference there. Is that your highest path? And they're always interested in your highest path. So it's great to have cheerleaders out there for us on our highest path. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does this course lead to the mediumship course? Is that how it goes? Or okay, so this is the prerequisite for that.
It is the prerequisite for that.
Okay.
The mediumship is the next week. It's like 2 weeks in a row. So it'd be 4 days, 3 days off, and then 4 days. But they're all just mornings, so it's not full days.
Yeah.
It's part-time.
Okay. All right, I understand. Thank you.
It's just part-time studenting. Yes.
I have a question about your other class. Is the medium class necessary? Like, what is that for? I noticed that you don't have an introduction for that class. Can
Oh,
I
it's
ask the
that's
question?
because this class is the prerequisite.
Okay,
So I'm not going to introduce it on its own because people couldn't come and take it.
I see. Okay.
So this is the class that will tell you about the next class. And it's, of course, learning to talk to dead people.
Yeah. Can you just just briefly describe why would you want to talk to dead people?
Oh, because it's so amazing and so healing. If you're um, I was just doing an email, and all of a sudden this evening, and and this information started to come through for someone who had just lost somebody. Someone had just died, and the being just showed up who had passed over, and they were able to come through me and write a letter through me to the people on this side, which is just so wonderful, so great for people to have. So
So, go ahead.
mhm. It's for others. It's for others. You do this.
Okay.
This is not for yourself. This is something that you do for other people. It's
So
also,
they're not going to intrude in your life in any way?
I've never had that happen, but I know
Okay.
people who have. But if they do, it's because really that's what you're here for. You're here to
Okay.
help those people.
I noticed that I've had kind of a bit of intrusion in the last little while. Whenever I close my eyes or sleep, there's a lot of activity.
Oh, okay.
Could any idea what that might be?
Yeah, it might be some beings who are there who need to talk to you.
They're strangers though.
Doesn't matter. You can still just, it's pretty easy to talk to them.
Oh, okay. How would you suggest dealing with them? Like what? I didn't know what to do.
Well, mostly you can just, initially, you can just ask for help. You can just ask for beings of light to come in and to help these people to move over,
Oh,
to pass over. So all
okay.
this is service work. You're serving the people who are left behind, and you are serving those people who die and who don't know how to pass over and don't know how to leave here, and who think that because their physical body died that there's nowhere else for them to be.
So what is a good question to ask if they appear? I just want to be prepared.
Right. Let's see, a good question to ask. You can say, what did I say? Trying to think of how I start here. Just a sec. It depends really on the being and how they show up. Um, but if I just kind of find them, so if I'm something and I find them, I first of all I let them know that they're dead. It's the first thing they need to know is that they've died, and then the next thing they need to know is that, and I can usually tell, but I can tell how long they've been dead. If they've been dead for a long time, if they've been dead for a long time, I say, I let them know how long they seem to have been dead for, and then I tell them that it's time for them to pass over. So I'm doing some telling. I don't ask them if they're ready. I basically tell them all that they're ready. I'm giving them a lot of options. Like, you're going to the light. You came to me. So if they show up with me, that's like, okay, that's a sign for me that they're going to be having to go to the light.
So I'll ask you one last detail. If you're
Okay.
just seeing them going about their life and it's almost like a movie and you're just watching them and they're strangers, you don't know who they are. Um,
Okay. Okay. So you're watching them, they're strangers, and they're kind of going about their life. Um, I might ask them who they are then.
okay.
So I would start there.
All right.
Who are
Thank you.
you? And maybe ask them, what are you doing here? How can I, actually what I'd ask them is, how can I help you?
Yes, that's what I was
That's the
thinking.
question, is how can I
Yeah.
help you?
I mean, they're not really seeing me. They're just going about their life, and I
Uh-huh.
don't really have any connection with them. But the sense of them is so strong, and the picture of them is also so vivid that I feel like, okay, we're on the same plane somehow, and I don't know why I'm here and why you're here.
Right.
So that's the only reason I ask,
Yeah. Ask
and
how
I
you can help
remember
them.
it vividly when I wake up.
Yeah. And because I don't think you'd be getting that unless there was some reason for you to be there
Okay,
and being shown. So yeah, how can I
cool.
help?
Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, okay, here we go. When you channel for someone else, you always need to have a permission to channel for that person. Yeah, in channeling, oh, let me see. If you're channeling for that person, um, so that means you're bringing information through for that person. You know, the guides are only going to bring through, the guides are the ones who decide all that. It's not us little humans, especially, who are going to who are making those kind of decisions. It's really the guides who make that. And if you're not supposed to get information to channel through for someone else, then you won't be allowed to do that. The person comes and sits in front of you and asks you for a channeling session, then yes, you're going to be able to channel for that person because they've come to you for a channeling. But if it's somebody else somewhere that you're getting information through, and generally if you're doing it for the purpose, again, of helping that person, of serving that person, then you'll probably be able to have the information come through. Sometimes there's occasions though when it doesn't come through. I've had some situations with healing work where it's sort of like, no, this, you know, you're not to touch this. This is karmic and it's got to go how it's going to go. You're not going to be able to do anything. So there's a door that's closed, and I just sort of see like, oh, there's a door that's closed, and I have doors that close that show up, and I just accept that. It's like, okay, yeah, that's there. This thing is happening as it should be, and it's, you know, not part of. Usually, someone has asked me to look at something or do something, and I'm just gonna know, no, that door's closed, and that's totally fine. So if the door is open, it's because the door is open, and generally if it's closed, it's because the door is closed. And so it's great that you don't have to go out and knock on doors to get that kind of permission, especially with someone who is, you know, kind of sick or something, and you're just trying to be helpful. If you're trying to be helpful, generally the guides and beings are like, you know, we really appreciate that you're trying to be helpful right now. And so then it's all good. We offer channeling level 2 online. And what does that class cover? So that's just taking your channeling skills up another level. Yeah, if this stuff continues, if life continues as it is right now, you could definitely see that happening in the future, the channeling level 2. But that is not planned. At this point, I think it just got knocked out. I did have channeling level 2 scheduled for the fall, but I think that just got knocked out by classes that were scheduled for June having to get moved. Actually, it was a clinic that was in June that had to get moved into the fall that knocked out where I was going to do a channeling level 2. But it might be online because of that. So it's really we're taking some different perspectives on channeling. We're coming at it from some different directions. And it's a fun class. They're all fun classes, and we're doing some more things to help you get clear on what's you and what's your mind, what's your editor, and getting beyond those things. So really doing some things to help you. Yeah, and yeah, and just seeing how skilled. Well, finding out that you're actually quite skilled in what you do. So I won't give away too much more than that, but it's an awesome class. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So, your channeling is conscious versus another person or guide coming into the body. So, conscious isn't, those things aren't that, person, no. Person, no. We don't have a person come into the body. No, we don't have other people come in doing channeling, but we do have guides, and the guides come in somewhat. I gotta let them in the front seat. So I say it's like you move into the back seat and they come into the front seat, and so the guides can be definitely adjusting everything about where you're speaking and where you're looking and your hands, what your hands are doing. Because they're high guides, their energy is like super awesome and clean and healing to have that much, to have that kind of a light being come into your body. So so they come in. Yes, they have to. That's what you are as a channel. You are being a channel. You're kind of like moving your energy back. You are in this body. You're connecting heaven and earth. And you're giving a little bit of space here for these beings to come in so that they can communicate something through you for others. So it's always this channeling and the mediumship is always it's a service thing that we do, that we learn to do. You serve others. You know, it's serve ourselves because we get so much out of it, and we serve others. It's sort of helps you get into the whole understanding of why we can even do this, which is because we are all aspects of the same source. You know, we are absolutely at another level. We are all one, and we're all connected. But we're more than connected. We are all, and we're able to move into and out of the healing work that I teach. You know, you move into reading the other person's energy by just really becoming that other person's energy, and then you step out of it. And so you as a being are what we call a focus of consciousness. You are kind of this consciousness that's come into this body shape, but you aren't not a part of everything else at the same time. And so that's why we can do this work. That's why you can be a medium. That's why you can channel, is because we are connected. Because there is no time and space, and I can connect with someone just as quickly who's on the other side of the planet as I can on someone who's on this side of the planet. So it's very metaphysical what's going on here in channeling, and it's a great spiritual path, because you don't just have to believe in oneness, you actually experience it and it becomes a part of your life. Same with mediumship. It's like, wow, you know, the other worlds, you start to actually know those other worlds through experience, not just through somebody else talking about it. I mean, it becomes your life experience. So it's a very powerful, this is a powerful spiritual path. Okay, another question. You're channeling. Oh, I guess that was a question. Okay, great. And that's good timing. Unless there's another question, I'm going to do a meditation.
I'm gonna love this class.
Was that a question out there? Okay, and there might be another question after we do the meditation. So that's good. Oh, it's so nice to see so many people here. Lovely. Yes, great. Nice. And we have some people who are already who have already signed up for the class. So and I think I can't remember how many people there are so far, but yeah, it's definitely happening. If I get your information up quickly that you want to do the class, then I can probably get the handouts sent to you in time for the class. Normally, of course, I'm handing them out, but you will get them as PDFs, and I'll send them out as soon as you signed up. And if I don't have time to mail them, then I will, you know, give you the PDFs before the class, so you can have an opportunity to print them out. Okay, so let's channel. Okay, just gonna take a moment. So it's gonna take me just a minute. I'm just gonna set up my sound so we can actually have music behind the channeling, which is awesome. So I know how to do that now. So I wasn't going to even teach the classes until I figured this part out. So. Okay, so I have to share my share. So It's so exciting to have music in the background. It took me about 5 years to figure out. Just it's like, oh my God, I've got it figured out now. So hopefully it'll be good. Uh-huh. Where'd it go? Sorry, just disappeared. I've almost got this. Sorry, I think I have to stop that again. And I have to practice before the class. I've just found out how to do it. Okay, now. And okay, everybody hear some music? Yes. Okay. Welcome. It is wonderful to be with each and every one of you. We are the guides that are here, and we are here, each and every one of you, as guides. Some of you are familiar with us. Some of you are not so familiar. And yet, you all are watched over, loved, and guided, always in your lives. Good. And now taking a wonderful deep breath and letting go. And another. Coming into this moment as you breathe. Smiling. Knowing that you are in the right place at the right time. In this moment. Here. With us. Bringing you love and light. Good, and now as you breathe, we are sending more light from above, beautiful light down over the top of your head, letting it pour down the front of your body, melting through your body to your feet. More light pouring over the back of your head and neck, shoulders, arms, down to your feet. And light further still, pouring now down at the center of your head. And as it does, it gently moves through as a wave of light, a wave of relaxation, letting yourself come down through your head and your neck, coming present in your body. And then now, as you come into your heart, come down through your torso, your hips and pelvis, your legs, all the way down to your feet. Connecting from your feet down into the earth. Coming down to energies of the earth as you move down below your feet. Points that are called transpersonal points, outer chakra points beyond the body. These are rooting points. This first point being connected to nature, spreading out on a horizontal plane, connecting downward to an elemental point, 5-element point, and spreading outward on a horizontal plane, going down further into the earth, connecting to the great consciousness of the earth, and spreading out from here on a horizontal plane, connecting into these great fields of energy of the earth, starting with that lowest field of the earth, allowing that to begin to ground you with the great wisdom and mother energy of the earth, coming up to the elemental point, inviting that energy in, very powerful, healing, grounding energy and energy of nature, and bringing this all together. All these forces coming to your feet and beginning to rise up through you. Just like sap rises in a tree as it reaches towards the light, you are like a tree. When you are grounded, you can reach towards the light and towards the stars. And the deeper your roots and the stronger the roots, the higher you can go. So open those roots. Allow this energy to flow up through you. Flow up through you towards the heavens, reaching up above your head and above your shoulders like branches of a tree, reaching towards the light. We teach you this because it is important for you to know that you are connected to the earth. It is your body. Your body arises from this earth. It arises from the dust of the stars, from the solar system, that light, the nutrients, the minerals, all of life coming together to create you. Reaching for the stars above your head, there is a point that connects your higher self, knows the right path, the conscience. Above that, there is another point, a second point that connects to the great pure lights of heaven, great virtue energy. Above that, there's a point higher still that connects to the heavens, to the divine. To that great power that some might call God or Source. It shines down on you. And opening to this light, like the branches of a tree gathering this light, let it shine down through these leaves, down all around you, and into the earth, and feel yourself a conduit of energy, conduit of the energy of heaven, down into the earth, and earth up towards heaven. For indeed, this is channeling, allowing heaven and the light of heaven, the great light and wisdom of heaven to flow through you, to come down through you, and to shine out to this world. For you, as a channel, become the repository of this light. It sends a light out, it sends illumination into the darkness. That others may see through you, through your help, through your assistance. You shine this light that will help them on their path. For indeed it is the light of heaven, not a lower light. You are supported in this work by the groundedness of the earth. It is your groundedness that allows that strong light to come in. You become like a mighty tree. Radiates, serves all beings. And so feeling your heart now, which is at that center point, is where heaven and earth meet. is the very heart of things, and it is the very heart of you. And it is that doorway, that balanced doorway. So focusing into your heart, breathing in and out. Moving into the center, into your individuality. Exhaling, surrendering the space around you. So imagine the universe coming together as you in the center of your heart as you breathe in. And that you expand and become the universe as you exhale. Letting yourself breathe in this way. And feel that love within your heart. As you expand, feel that love all around you. As you inhale, feel the light within your heart. Move into that light as you exhale. Feel the light all around you. Then just relax on that inhale, on that expansion, floating on the energy that's here. Being aware as you float, the beautiful light over you, a light shining down on you. And let yourself float towards that light. Floating upward. Towards that source light. Higher and higher. Moving up through the beautiful red light now, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, violet and white, shimmering white light. And as you are here in this light, you find yourself great beings all around you. Beings of light. Your question here is it time for me to learn to channel? feel for the answer, or see the answer, or hear the answer. One way might be, not sure, suggest that it's maybe not time to learn to channel. If that fits, or maybe, or not now, or yes, it is time. Feel which one fits and see what the answer is. Good. Good. And see if there's any other message that these beings might have for you right now. Anything else that they would like to share? Any other impressions? Or maybe you're sitting in a color. Maybe you think you're not getting anything, and yet that nothing is full. So there is no such thing as not getting anything. Good, and enjoy your time. Relax. And then looking back towards your body. Starting to make a connection down this higher world back into the human plane, like descending on a cord of light, coming back slowly, making this connection in the higher worlds, the physical plane, coming back down to the crown of your head, and filling your body like a hand back into a glove. Taking some breaths. Good, all the way back. Now going beneath your feet, down into the earth, down to that first transpersonal point, earth, nature, down to the second of the elements, down to the third, the great beingness of Gaia, of earth itself. Good, and then wiggling your toes and fingers and coming back. Good, and with that, we give you our blessing and our love. Thank you for being here. Okay. Any comments? You can put them in the chat or you can share. Um, whew. I never get heated up, or at least not normally, but they did one of those heating up things to me. So that was pretty fun. Yeah. Ah. Yeah, but it's recorded. It's okay as a question. It's recorded. Yes. Oh, dizzy. We went up high. Face got itchy. Heat. We all got, okay. I got that heat thing too. That was interesting. It was very high. It was a really solid vibration that came in. Okay. Layla. Okay. Crown and K1's got hot. Lots of visuals. Lovely. Okay. Mario too. Well, the guides were letting everybody know that they were there. I was like, for a while, I thought like, oh man, sun must be setting. It must be like shining right on me because I'm like getting like, oh, this is hot. So I just, kind of opened my eyes a little. I was like, nope, this is really hot. That was a hot meditation. I think they often, that's one of the things that they do to, to share that, to let you know. That is a key kind of like, we're going to let you know that we're around, and we're doing that by bringing in this heat.
Can I share?
Yes.
So when I got there, up
Yep.
there in the high realm, at some point I felt I saw those beings, and those beings were staring at me first. I'm like, hello, hello, who we have here? And then I asked the permission, can I work with you? And it took them some time to reply to me. And then finally they told me, yes, now you can, actually you worked with us before, now you can work with us again.
Oh,
And
good.
they just told me some couple of messages, but it was so, the energy was full of confidence, that I'm completely secure and truly
Nice.
loved. And
Yes.
lots of wisdom, indeed, what you mentioned. That's what I felt. Very
Good.
interesting, yeah.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Senya. Great to see you. So glad you're here. Great. That was that was a wild one. Sometimes we get some wild meditations that happen. The guides come in and they just get really kind of powerful. Anybody else like to share? Okay. Well, thank you for sharing on the chats. That's awesome. Yeah, the heat thing was pretty wild. That's so funny that everybody got it. Or not everybody, but certainly quite a few people got it. Is the dizzy feeling better?
Oh yeah, it is. I just felt like I was going really high up really fast.
Yeah.
And that was part of my question. I noticed that in reading Sanaya's, I think Sanaya is her name,
Yeah.
her book, that when we do Qigong, we're breathing from our abdomen, our lower
Yep.
dantian.
Yes.
And
Right.
with the trance, you're breathing from your chest.
Yeah.
And that's where I normally breathe. So I'm trying to make it go down.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
it's good. Yes. As we
it
get
was very easy for me to go up because I normally breathe here anyways.
right. Yes.
So can
Yeah.
you
It really
speak to
depends on
that?
what part it is, because sometimes when you're channeling, um, and so part of the channeling is learning. Like, it is about the breath too. It is about where your breath is, and being able to channel, and also having your breath lower when you channel. And you can actually, channel. Let's see. You can be in the energies, but it's hard to actually verbalize and speak without the energy being here. So that's okay. Just practice your deep breathing. And then, coming back, um, especially down into the earth, get back into. So we start off grounding, but then, we go up.
And now
But
my body is tingling. My whole body is tingling. Do you know what that is?
a lot of this tonight seems to be that they wanted everybody to know they're present, that they are here. It's also a full moon.
Mm.
And so it was a good night to do this. And so, yeah, between the full moon, there was a lot of energy coming in. Yeah, that was fun. That was cool.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay. Any other messages? Okay, well, it's probably a wrap. I think everybody knows how to, if you want to take the class, then basically get in touch. You can do a deposit on the website, or you can just let me know and send a check in the mail. If you're in Canada, you could do an e-transfer. If you're in the US, you can do a Venmo. So there's a lot of ways to do that. Anyway, though, I hope that some of you decide to do it. That would be awesome and fun. And we're also going to post this up on YouTube, and I think it's spotlighted, so you won't actually, the people's, we spotlight it so that you don't see everybody on the sides. We don't have gallery views out there on the internet. So, and normally what we do is, normally I don't record this class, but I'm thinking, actually, I'm pretty sure I'm going to record this next class coming up. But it'll be interesting because you're not like your sessions back and forth won't be recorded, just the instructions will be getting recorded on this. And yeah, so the website you probably know, but it's emptymountain.com, and you just go to channeling and you can find everything in there. So if you're going to come and take it, then start to think of what questions you have and what issues you have in your life, because you're going to have the opportunity to work them out. You're going to get lots of sessions. You're getting lots of readings. And you'll be giving lots of readings too. So great. Yeah. Okay, so I think we'll say good night for now.